Affirmation Dinner. On July 15, 1946, President Harry S. Truman greeted members of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team upon their return from Europe about a year after World War II had concluded. He spoke these words: "You fought not only the enemy abroad, but you fought prejudice at home, and you have won. Keep up that fight, and we will continue to win, to make this great republic stand for just what the Constitution says it stands for: the welfare of all the people, all the time." Those were very insightful words by President Truman. Our longtime Java Executive Director, who unfortunately is not with us here tonight, Terry Shima, was part of that ceremony at the White House ellipse on that particular day, 76 years ago. To begin our program tonight, if you are able, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our great country, the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. For your information, this inaugural event, the Day of Affirmation, was a brainchild of Java's president, Gerald Yamada, who patiently nurtured the idea for a number of years and has finally brought it to fruition with the support of Java's Executive Council. It is now my pleasure and honor to introduce our first speaker, our Java president, Gerald Yamada. Gerald, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Wade. Yesterday, July 15th, we commemorated the third annual Day of Affirmation wreath ceremony at the National World War II Memorial. This was the 76th anniversary of President Truman's review of the returning 442nd Regimental Combat Team in 1946. The President's salute affirmed that Japanese Americans, soldiers, men and women who served during World War II are loyal citizens of the United States of America. I started the Day of Affirmation 3 years ago because I believed that the story about what happened to Japanese Americans during World War II was incomplete. Our community started the Day of Remembrance in 1978. The Day of Remembrance commemorates President Roosevelt's signing Executive Order 9066 on February 19, 1942, and is the venue to tell the story of why Japanese Americans were victims. This is an important story, but it is only half the story. To tell the whole story, I felt we needed to remind our community and the American public that the Nisei soldiers are our heroes. They are America's heroes. This is the purpose of the Day of Affirmation: to celebrate the nation's affirmation that the Japanese Americans soldiers who served during World War II are loyal citizens. They served with personal courage in the face of overt prejudice. The first year when you have a commemoration, it is considered an event. If you have the same commemoration the next year, it is considered a repeated event. when you have the same event in the third year, it's called a tradition. Since we've had the Day of Affirmation for 3 years, it is now an annual tradition. And hope we will carry that on into future years. Thank you. Go on to introduce. Okay. We have an honored guest with us today, which is my honor to introduce. It is Minister Koichi Ai. He serves as the Minister and Head of Chancellery at the Embassy of Japan in Washington, D.C. His prior post was with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development based in Paris. I don't know what he did to get moved from Paris to Washington, D.C., but anyway, we have something in common. He studied law at the University of Tokyo and earned a master's from Tufts University. Please, let's welcome Minister Ai to the podium.
Thank you, Gerald. I don't quite understand why I was transferred to Washington from Paris. Maybe HR people in Tokyo realized that I was enjoying myself too much, and they needed me to do some real work. And Washington is most definitely one of the busiest embassies Japan has overseas. So I can't complain. Everything has rewards and everything has its consequences. So I guess combination of Paris and Washington is something that I should be happy and proud about. Well, thanks, Gerald, for having me this evening. I do distinctly recall that we had this message exchange about maybe my speaking briefly on the occasion. I didn't know if it was appropriate or if I'm qualified, and I still am wondering whether I am. But I always welcome the opportunity to work closely with Java and more generally with the Japanese American community here in Washington. So I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I also wish to thank the community about some of the very sympathetic messages that the embassy received after the sudden demise of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Not everyone agreed with his brand of politics, obviously. He's a politician, so there's always supporters and detractors. But I can certainly say that his long premiership left a long-lasting impact on Japan's foreign policy, and especially in its relationship with the United States, in positive way, that is. And we all will be living in his legacy that he leaves behind in closer relationship between the United States and Japan. Today yesterday and today we are commemorating the event that was mentioned earlier, dates back to July 15th, 1946, I believe. When I look at this event from a perspective of student of American history and Japanese diplomat, I'm struck with how it represents very strongly the unique Japanese American experience within American history. It is unique, and at the same time, though, it is very quintessentially American story. And I think it is not just important for the Japanese American community to be commemorating the event and remembering it, but it is also very important for this country and by extension to the world that we take this opportunity to remind people, especially the younger generations, of what the experience the Japanese Americans had and how Japanese American community came where we are today. So I applaud Java for taking the initiative to make this an annual tradition now, and I hope that the event will continue in years ahead for the benefit of entire, not just the Japanese American community, but those who are seriously interested in the American history and American political development. That is why, not just me personally, but as the embassy institution, we have made a number of initiatives to work closely with Java in recent years, and most recently and notably at the JICC, we assisted Java's program of presenting portraits, photographies of Nisei veterans and Japanese American veterans. I went to the opening, I saw the exhibit, I bought the book even. Very impressive, and it tells a story. It comes with very nice explanation and captions. You have to read it, but even without reading them, just the pictures will jump into you and tells you a very strong history about what we are talking about today. So I believe it's still on. So if you haven't been there yet, I strongly urge you to go to see it. And JICC also has had some program in connection with this exhibit, a film showing of the story about the campaign to realize the Go for Broke stamps, for example. So those are related events that we are hoping that will help elevate the visibility of our activity in conjunction with Java. Thanks again for having me this evening, and I do hope that our collaborative relationship between Java and the embassy will continue. It was really nice to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald and Minister Ai, for your wonderful remarks. Before we begin dinner, I would like to tell you how this location was in fact selected. Approximately in 2011, Gerald Yamada and myself opened discussions with the museum's leadership and the Army Historical Foundation, which exists to raise money for the museum, to see how Java could assist the museum and the Historical Foundation with a couple things. But our biggest concern was to be able to share the Nisei legacy and experience. We, in fact, were the first veterans organization with ties to the 442nd 100th Infantry Battalion, the MIS, and to other Nisei veterans of World War II to make contact with the National Museum of the U.S. Army. Gerald and I were given privy to be given a special tour of the archival location located on Fort Belvoir, which is temperature controlled, a wonderful place with hundreds of thousands of artifacts that cannot be displayed at any one given time here in the museum, but will be, hopefully, over the years as time passes. Okay. The other thing we did was to make a significant donation. So if you turn around and you look at the wall on the back, on the left side, about halfway down, you see silver oak leaf cluster. And then if you move to your right, you'll see the Japanese American Veterans Association inscribed. That allowed us, that donation, to gain one-time use of this Veterans Hall for this event. Java also created a plaque honoring the 442nd and 100th Infantry Battalion that is, in fact, the first plaque on the wall leading to the museum entrance, right next to the parking lot. So on your way out, if you haven't seen it, please take a look at it. It's a wonderfully done plaque. In addition, Java has donated a commemorative brick honoring the 3 units and Nisei veterans, and has played a role in gaining artifacts for display within the museum. I sincerely hope that you spent some time touring the museum. Now, without running my mouth anymore, it's cow time, as they say in Hawaii. So, get ready for a wonderful dinner, and there'll be no remarks on the podium until you have finished filling your tummies. Go for broke.